From Texas. Why are you donating to the revolution? That's my way of helping the cause, if you know what I mean. Everybody's got to do their part, and I feel like this is my part. Since I can't go march and I can't do all the other stuff because I be working and stuff like that, that's the least I can do and spread the word too. And why do you support this revolution? I'm looking for change. Everybody is tired of the same thing. We've been going through this for decades and nothing changes. Just different names with the same system. We're going through the same stuff. Was there something in the interview that struck you or helped you see things differently? Some of the stuff I hear in the interview is already in my head. To find some people in the same mindset, that's why it's important to me. A man's true wealth is the good he does in this world. Message from a couple of Iranian immigrants who took up a project to raise funds for the fund drive. The first time I heard the name of Babavekian was after the capture of the American embassy in Iran. Like many young people at that time, I was inclined towards leftist groups and was a fan of the Union of Communists of Iran. One day, a friend was talking about an American communist comrade who had said that the embassy that was captured was not their embassy. At that time, it was very interesting for us leftist youth that an American would say such a thing. Now that I'm in the States, I think about the leftist youth in the current political situation in Iran, and surely just like me, the words and opinions of Babavekian that they hear should be as interesting and important to them. I remember at that time when I first saw the scene of Nixon and Mao shaking hands in a program on TV. Although they had met many years before in 1972, I couldn't believe it, and it caused the regret and disappointment of many leftist youth. The fact that there are comrades in America who defend real communism must make those who feel the need for real change happy. Capitalism must go, and the existence of a plan and practical way to implement a system that saves humanity and life on this planet from destruction and suffering is the real hope that humanity needs right now. We have been regular contributors to RevCom and watched the RNL show, and they have been echoing the cry for revolution in Iran since the beginning and before the recent uprising, which shows the true sense of internationalism. So we came up with the idea of making the Woman Life Freedom flag to sell and raise funds for the RevComs. From Coco Das. As one of the people who has been transformed and is being transformed by BA's leadership and body of work, I want to make a very personal statement about why I'm donating to the $100,000 fund drive. I was born at the tail end of the 60s liberation struggles, and in many ways my life was freer than people born before me because of the concessions won by these struggles. But I also grew up through the fall of revolutionary China and the collapse of the Soviet bloc, which, even though it hadn't been socialist for decades, gave way for the unchallenged domination of U.S. imperialism, the New World Order, counter-revolutionary backlashes in this country and around the world, and the politics of cruelty under Reagan and beyond. I also went to college just when identity politics was becoming a dominating trend in so-called progressive discourse. I was heavily influenced by identity politics and saw it as a means of personal liberation. I was comfortable with the individualism, relativism, and parasitism inherent in the me and mine philosophy. I believed that it was enough for me to just live my life and do what I want as a member of oppressed groups. I used the word revolution in all kinds of eclectic ways that had nothing to do with overthrowing this system of capitalism and imperialism. Most of all, I had no scientific way of looking at the world. I went from one extreme to another based on who was saying something rather than what they were saying. It seems remarkable, since I'm an educated person, that it was only through meeting the RevComs that I was at all challenged to figure out and consider what was actually true. That truth is what corresponds to objective reality. Even the simple definition I never got through my basic or higher education. I thought I was a good critical thinker because I questioned everything and was agnostic about most things. And therefore I never shared my opinions because I felt I couldn't really be sure about anything. And I was totally okay with that kind of ignorance and passivity. At the same time, I hated what was happening to people. I truly hated the inequality, the poverty, the racism and misogyny, and all the ways people were beaten down and oppressed. When I started reading Bob Avakian, he opened my eyes to a whole new way of thinking and seeing the world. Slowly, I came to understand that my unscientific ways of thinking were blinding me to the conditions and the needs of the masses of humanity, and from the revolution that we could make to end the things I hated about the world. I was skeptical about socialism and communism because I'd met my fair share of self proclaimed leftists who were hypocrites and actually okay with the status quo. But with BA, I saw a consistent worldview and analysis. I learned what it means to be a truly objective, critical, scientific thinker and how to hold all of humanity at the center of my morality. I found a fighting spirit over the years because I read BA and took leadership in some critical fights around police brutality, fascism, and abortion rights. Recently, I rewatched the third interview from the Heart and Soul series because I needed guidance with a personal situation. A decades-old accusation against a friend, from which he was exonerated, was resurfaced as part of a personal vendetta. I was asked to denounce this person even though I knew he wasn't guilty of what he was accused of. We've seen this kind of thing play out again and again in what BA has correctly called woke insanity. As I watched the third interview, I listened closely as BA explained why the presumption of innocence is such an important principle for a just society. And this gave me the strength and the certitude to take the right stand. I bring this up because in the past, I would have been completely disoriented by the situation, and I would have done what was easiest, whatever would have led to the most important people liking me. I would not have even known how to make the right choice. Now I am also learning how to talk about how my thinking has changed and challenge others to do the same by getting into the work of BA. I share this not to make it all about me, but to show the real potential for transforming the people for revolution through these interviews and BA's leadership overall. The new communism and the role of people's thinking in getting to that world is so critical. Without the right methodology, we have no hope of a truly emancipating future. BA's articles and polemics, the website, and the RNL show all give me a grasp of the new communism and the world we're fighting for. I am contributing what I can to help spread this on the scale that's needed. Even though we're deep in the heart of Texas, we add our voices in support of this revolutionary movement.